I am Kirsten Adler of Explore Movement, and today I am showing a routine to help relieve lower back stiffness and discomfort. You'll want to have a hand towel nearby that you can have rolled up and perhaps a pillow for underneath your head. Let's begin. Come onto your back with your knees bent, your feet flat about hip width apart, and here's where you might want to prop your head up onto something if that feels more comfortable. And we'll begin with just a little bit of breath awareness. So take a few breaths and notice where you feel movement in your torso as you breathe. Is it up in your chest? Is it down in your belly? Is it somewhere in between? Just staying curious about what you're sensing, what you're feeling. And then bring your hands around your lower ribs, and as you inhale, invite your rib cage to expand into your hands. You can imagine an umbrella opening up, and as you exhale, you can imagine that umbrella closing, so your ribs soften in and down. Try that a couple more times. Inhaling, rib cage expands like an umbrella opening, front, sides, and back. Exhale, rib cage softens in and down like an umbrella closing. And then go ahead and slide your hands down to your belly. And this can be an area where, especially when we're in pain, we can kind of grab and hold. So as you inhale, invite your belly to gently rise into your hands. Doesn't have to be a huge movement. And then as you exhale, just feel your belly wall dropping down towards your back body. Again, inhale, invite your belly to rise, and as you exhale, invite your belly to fall inward towards your back. You can take a couple more rounds of this, and then let your arms come wherever's comfortable. And as you inhale, see if you can sense that expansion of both your rib cage and your belly as you inhale. And as you exhale, sensing that softening inward through both your belly and your ribs. So taking these deep breaths can help calm our nervous system, which can help when we're in pain. And it can also help improve our deep core connections. So many benefits to just improving our breathing. From here, let's move now a bit more. So you'll take your hand towel, you'll hold on to it so that your hands are about shoulder width apart, and go ahead and pull your hands apart on the towel a little bit. So you give it a little bit of tension. And then as you inhale, you're gonna reach your hands up to the ceiling. Your shoulders will roll away from the floor. And then as you exhale, soften your shoulders back down. And I'm going to adjust this pillow. I'm not sure if I really want it right now. We'll see. So you'll inhale, the hands up, and exhale, backs of the shoulders drop down. 2 more times. Inhale, reach the towel up, shoulders roll off the floor. Exhale, backs of the shoulders come down. 1 more time, reaching up and lowering. From here, you're going to take your arms slowly overhead as far as you can go without your ribs leaving the floor. So ribs stay anchored. And then slowly bring the arms over your chest. A few more times, reaching the arms overhead. And exhale, arms come forward. Again, reaching the arms overhead. Ribs are heavy. Bring the arms forward. 1 more time. So we're getting a little bit of movement through the shoulders, the ribs, and the spine here, which can help with lower back stiffness. We're going to add some rotation now. So you'll take your arms and your chest to the right, and that will peel your left shoulder off of the floor. Your head can go for the ride. Your hips are staying even, and then come back to center. other side. So the arms and the chest turn to the left. The right shoulder comes off the floor. Hips are even and come back. So a few more times back and forth. Arms and chest to the right. Turning the ribs, turning the spine. And come back. And to the other side. So sometimes when we're in pain, we just focus on the area, right, that's in pain. It's calling our attention. But I notice that if we can bring our attention to sometimes another area, it can provide some relief. From here, let's take the towel. I'm just thinking, let's take it away. We'll come back to it in a moment. And you'll rock your pelvis back and forth a few times. So you're gonna rock your pelvis under, your lower back flattens, tip your pelvis the other way so it arches away from the floor. Again, rock your pelvis so that your back flattens into the floor, tip it the other way so that it arches. And you can make this as big or as small as you like. Whatever feels good to your body. And then come to an in-between place where you're not tipped too far one way or the other way. You'll take your towel again, arms up over your chest. You'll stretch your arms overhead like you did before, but this time also slide a leg out along the floor and flex that foot. Pause for a moment and feel that you have even weight across the backs of your hips and your ribs are still dropped. And then bring that foot and bring the arms back. Other side, arms reach overhead as you slide a leg out, flex the foot, backs of the hips heavy, lower back is long, and come back. Again, stretching a leg out, reaching an arm back. So we're getting a little bit of length through the front of the hip here, through the spine. Come back. Other side, you could always scoot down and have your feet off the mat for this one if you're getting caught like I just was, and come back. So now we're going to try both legs at the same time. So both legs stretching out as the arms reach overhead. Pause here and notice if in stretching both legs out, you sort of arched your back away from the floor, right? And see if you can keep the low ribs long, keep that pelvis more in that in-between place, and then bring everything back. And again, stretching the arms back, reaching the legs out. Pause here, even weight across the hips, heavy ribs, long reach through the arms and the feet, and come back. Go ahead and release the towel off to the side, and we're going to work our way into a little bit of bridging. So I'm going to fix my mat for a moment. There we go. All right, so I'm going to also take my pillow out. So my arms are down. I'm going to press into my feet to lift my hips off of the ground. So check in and see that you're pressing evenly into both of your feet. Your knees are reaching forward. Some glute, hamstring activation here. And then roll down through your spine from your upper to lower back. Again, press down into your feet, reach your knees forward to lift your hips up. And slowly roll down through your spine, bone by bone, upper back to lower back. Again, pressing into the feet. So this is a great exercise for opening the fronts of the hips, kind of activating the glutes, the hamstrings, and also working on the articulation of your spine. So you're getting a lot of bang for your buck on this one. One more bridge. And lower. From here, we're going to come into a twist. So your arms can come out to a goal pose position. You'll take your legs together, cross your right thigh over your left thigh, and then tip your knees to the right. Your left hip can peel off the ground, but your left shoulder is going to stay heavy. Find a comfortable stretch, and then come back to starting position. 2 more times. Legs go to the right, left hip comes off of the ground, left shoulder's heavy, and come back. 1 more time. Legs to the right, and come back. Go ahead and switch sides. Bring that foot down, other leg on top, and take your legs to the left. Right hip peels off the ground, and come back to center. 2 more times. So another thing you can check in with here is that your ribs aren't flaring up, but they're staying heavy and soft, releasing towards the floor. 1 more time. Check in with your breathing. Make sure you're not holding your breath. And come back. Release that foot. And we're going to come into a little hamstring stretch. So you'll bring one foot into the towel. Stretch that leg up just as far as the back of your leg will allow. And try to even out your hips on the floor. From here, you'll bend that knee, keeping the foot high in the air so you're not dropping it down. And as you bend your knee, try to soften through that hip. Again, find the evenness through your pelvis so you're not lifting one hip up toward your shoulder. And then pull down on the towel as you reach your foot up. So you're giving your leg a little bit of resistance. And again, bend the knee, foot stays high, and then pull the towel down as you reach the foot up. 1 more time, bending the knee, pull the towel down, reach the foot up, breathe, and smile, which can help when you're stretching because you want to relax into the stretch and you don't want your body to go into defense mode and tighten up. And from here, you can stretch the opposite leg out. That feels like it's not great in your lower back. You can stay with it bent, either one. Take a few more breaths. And then go ahead and release that foot out, and you'll switch sides. So hamstring stretching, I don't think that it solves everything with lower back problems, but I do find that it can feel really good and satisfying. And also, when we stretch more regularly, there's the possibility that, we'll gain more range of motion over time through our legs and our hips, which then can take some of the strain off of our backs. So here you are. You've got that foot up in the air. Hips are even. You'll bend that knee, keeping the foot high. Invite your hip to soften here, and then pull the towel down to reach that foot up. 2 more times. Bend the knee, foot stays high. And exhale, pull down the towel to reach the foot up. 1 more time. I don't know about you, but this is definitely my tighter side. Reach that leg up and breathe. Option of extending the other leg out. And again, you should always be able to smile in stretching. If not, then maybe back out a little bit. Find a place where you can smile. And go ahead and release that foot out. Towel off to the side. Take a moment, check in, see how your back is feeling at this point. From here, roll to a side, come on to hands and knees. Bring your shoulders over your wrists, knees under your hips, and we'll do some cat back. So round your back up to the ceiling. And flow the other way, rolling your butt bones and your chest out, reversing the curve of your spine. Again, round your back up to the ceiling. And flow the other way, arch. 1 more time, rounding your back. And reverse the curve. And then find an in-between place and you'll take your tail and shoulder over to one side, come back to center, and then over to the other side and center. So you're wagging your tail and shoulder to one side, giving your back a little bit of a side stretch, and then to the other side. One more time each side. And back to center. Send your hips back. Walk your arms out in front of you for a child's pose. And this can be a nice place to focus the breath into the back of the body. So imagine it coming into the lower back, into the back of the lungs, the ribs. And then come forward onto hands and knees. Into your flat back. I'm going to do a little bit of a core stability exercise here. So in your flat back, you're going to slide one leg back behind you without your hips or spine moving around. Find a sense of your belly wall lifting up here toward your back body. If this feels like a lot of work, stay here. If you want a little more challenge, you can lift your back leg off of the ground without that hip moving. And then if you want a little more challenge, take the opposite arm out in front. So coming into a classic bird dog, feeling the hands and the shin that are against the floor, pushing down into the floor, and feeling the leg and the arm that are up, reaching away from your center. Take a couple more breaths. And then release that knee, release that hand down. Other side. Slide the opposite leg back. Pause. Make sure your hips are still even and level. Lower back is long and not drooping down. Lift the leg up if you're lifting the leg up, otherwise it can stay down. And then when you feel balanced, you can take opposite arm out. Focusing on that hand and shin that are against the floor, pushing into the floor, and finding that reach through your limbs. Take a couple more breaths. And release that knee, release that hand down. Press back again into your child's pose. And from here, you can come forward, tuck your toes under, lifting up and back into a downward dog. If you feel like your back is rounding here, you've got a lot of weight over your arms, you can bend your knees to send your hips up and back. Allow your neck to be long and free. Heels are releasing towards the floor, even if they don't touch the floor. Take 2 more breaths. And lower your knees down to the floor. And that is it for the practice today. Thank you so much for joining me. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments below, and I'll see you next time.